Je-Hyuk is a famous baseball player who ends up in prison after hitting someone. A few days earlier, Je-Hyuk received a message from his younger sister that she had been assaulted by a guy. Je-Hyuk rushed to her house and found the culprit on his way. At first, he only wanted to capture the man and hand him over to the police, but the pervert resisted violently. During the struggle, Je-Hyuk hit him hard, and the man suffered a serious brain injury. It was clearly self-defense, but the injury was severe. So the court ruled that Je-Hyuk had used excessive force. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison while the court waited to see if the pervert's condition would improve. Je-Hyuk simply accepts the court's decision and boards the bus to prison, where the other inmates recognize him as a superstar player. They joke about him going to a dangerous place where there is no sunlight and only rough prisoners. When he arrives, he undergoes several tests before being assigned a cell. The prison staff are excited because they are his fans. When an ambulance comes to take away a sick inmate, Je-Hyuk hopes he can meet his friend Junho soon, but an officer tells him it will take time for Junho's transfer, so they may not meet yet. After the inspection, he officially becomes a regular inmate and is assigned to a cell shared with 6 men. One of them is Professor Myung, who quickly befriends Je-Hyuk because he is a fan. Another is Gundal, a gang boss who is there with his bald underling. The oldest man in the room is also one of Je-Hyuk's fans, while Baeo-ja is a repeat offender who entered the prison on the same day as him. Je-Hyuk has plenty of free time in prison, so he decides to practice throwing again. He asks Mr. Myung to get him an apple to use as a ball, and Myung says the transaction fee is 50,000 won, and Je-Hyuk agrees right away. Soon after, the warden announces that he has a visitor, and it turns out to be his mother, who comes with his ex-girlfriend. Je-Hyuk hasn't told his mother about their breakup because she still likes the girl. When his mother leaves, Je-Hyuk and his ex talk openly, and she encourages him to stay patient because she believes he will be released soon. When Je-Hyuk returns to his cell, he sees Gundal bullying the old man again. Unable to tolerate it, he steps in to stop him, but the old man quickly grabs his collar and tells him to stay quiet, as if to protect him. Later, Baeo-ja explains that the old man owes Gundal money for personal supplies, and he works for him to settle the debt. Baeo-ja reveals that he was imprisoned for borrowing money to pay for his mother's surgery, but couldn't return the loan. His sister recently visited and told him their mother's condition worsened. Hearing this, Je-Hyuk feels sympathy but still dislikes Gundal's cruelty. That night, Gundal forces the old man to eat an entire box of cookies to show his power. Je-Hyuk stays silent, but when everyone falls asleep, he finally gets up and beats Gundal. However, the next day, Chief Joe calls him to the office and serves him tea and cake instead of punishment. He suddenly demands that he call his family and transfer 30 million won to his account in exchange for special treatment. Just then, an old friend of Je-Hyuk named Junho enters the prison. The two meet after a long time, and it turns out they were best friends and teammates back in 2001. Time rewinds to their high school days, when Junho was Je-Hyuk's best friend and baseball teammate. They won countless trophies together and often stayed at their coach's house because they lived far away. However, their coach's car met with a tragic accident while driving to the city. The coach died while both of them were seriously injured, and it took them 2 years to recover. Junho gave up baseball after losing hope, but Je-Hyuk kept training hard in memory of their coach. Years later, Je-Hyuk became a famous baseball player, while Junho became a police officer. Back in the present, the angry Chief Joe gets angry at being denied the money and throws Je-Hyuk into solitary confinement. Gundal feels pleased to hear this news, while Baeo-ja quietly cries because Je-Hyuk's last phone call was actually made to help transfer money for Baeo-ja's mother's hospital bills. Inside the confinement cell, Junho visits Je-Hyuk and brings him instant noodles. He realizes that Je-Hyuk is too kind and warns him not to trust people so easily. He explains that the old man Je-Hyuk tried to protect has 9 previous convictions and is now imprisoned for murder. In another scene, Je-Hyuk is quietly watching snowfall from his window when Baeo-ja tries to chat, but Je-Hyuk only says that he likes ice cream and needs peace to enjoy it. When the food arrives for everyone, it looks terrible, and someone complains that even dogs would not eat such food. Sindal jokes that they live with a superstar, so he should bring better food. The next day, the same delivery man comes again, but when he turns to leave, Gundal calls him back and orders him to steal a knife. The man agrees and walks away with tears in his eyes. Later, Junho's colleague enters and invites Je-Hyuk to the office because the inmates, who are big baseball fans, want his autograph. Je-Hyuk agrees and spends hours signing 100 papers. During outdoor time, the delivery man secretly hands Je-Hyuk a baseball that he managed to sneak in but Gundul tells him to bring the knife. Out of fear, the man sneaks into Junho's office during the prison's prayer ceremony, steals a box cutter, and hands it to Gundul in the chapel. Baeo-ja witnesses this and immediately senses that something bad will happen. That night, Gundul waits in the cell to take revenge on Je-Hyuk for hitting him earlier. But Je-Hyuk doesn't show up as he's still busy signing papers in the office. Though he finishes the first 100, he keeps signing blank sheets just to delay his return. Late at night, Junho's colleague urges him to go back. Just a few seconds after entering the cell, the prison alarm blares. Guards rush through the halls with weapons to perform a surprise inspection. All inmates stand in line with their hands raised while the guards search their lockers. As expected, the box cutter is discovered in Gundul's locker, and he is immediately sent to solitary confinement for 30 days. Je-Hyuk had already seen the calendar marked with the 13th as inspection day and secretly warned the delivery man. That night, Junho calls Je-Hyuk out to talk privately and tells him that being too nice will only hurt him and that the delivery man he helped isn't as innocent as he looks. Junho reveals that the man often keeps the best food from the kitchen for himself. Je-Hyuk calmly replies that he didn't help the man out of sympathy, but because when he read Gundul's file, he discovered that Gundul's crime was rape, which reminded him of his sister's suffering. That was why he wanted Gundul punished. When they return to the cell, Gundul's underling collapses from a heart attack. The cruel warden counts from 1 to 10 to see if the man is faking. Only when the prisoner's body stiffens does he panic and call for help. The warden rushes to perform CPR and carries him to the ambulance. For the first time, Junho feels a bit of respect for him and even offers to buy him an expensive cup of coffee. The day of Je-Hyuk's second trial finally arrives. Baeo-ja teaches him how to appeal properly and wishes him luck, but the warden angrily orders Baeo-ja to move cells. Before leaving, Baeo-ja thanks Je-Hyuk for helping his mother and gives him a small gift hidden by the window. That night, the warden secretly writes a report filled with lies about Je-Hyuk and sends it to the court to destroy his chances. The next morning, Je-Hyuk and Mr. Myung ride together to the court. During the hearing, one of the jurors hands a note to the lawyer, which reveals that the pervert is now brain dead. Since the victim of Je-Hyuk's attack is in a vegetative state, the court rules that his act was excessive self-defense and keeps his 1-year prison sentence unchanged. Hearing this, Je-Hyuk's family breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, Mr. Myung, who had defrauded 7 billion won, wins his appeal easily thanks to his powerful father. After returning to prison, Je-Hyuk runs for hours to vent his frustration. He feels that the law is cruel as he punished the real criminal, but he is the one behind bars. Later, back in his cell, he remembers Baeo-ja's words about a gift. He pulls the string near the window and finds an ice cream hanging there. Meanwhile, the corrupt warden happily celebrates Je-Hyuk's continued sentence until he hears the shocking news that suddenly leaves him terrified. The scene of the prison warden accepting bribes from Big Brother Gal is leaked to the news, and the warden is shocked because he cannot understand how it was filmed when he was standing away from the camera. It turns out that a few days earlier, his bribery was witnessed by Junho. Knowing that Je-Hyuk has perfect aim from his baseball days, Junho asked him to throw a ball at a specific angle that redirected the camera to capture the warden's corrupt act. Because of this, the warden is arrested the next day. Je-Ho later visits Je-Hyuk in prison and bursts into tears seeing him still behind bars. Outside, she comforts Je-Hyuk's mother and his frail younger sister, reminding them to stay happy no matter the circumstances. During a quiet conversation, the delivery boy reveals that Je-Hyuk helped him expose Seagull. This secret also gets into the ears of Dong-ho, who returns from the hospital and is admitted to the same room as Je-Hyuk. When he sees Je-Hyuk, he becomes furious and attacks him violently with a sharp brush. The attack is revenge because Soji told the others that Je-Hyuk was the one who told him the cell check time and handed the knife to Gundul. After recovering from his injury, Je-Hyuk returns to normal and is transferred to another cell for safety. The new prisoners there act strangely and secretly discuss something and later cooperate to carry out a plan. The messenger Yong-sik becomes their inside man who is working for a prisoner named Mr. Kang. Mr. Kang gives Yong-sik a twisted steel wire to test a plan, but it fails. Luckily, the guard inside is asleep, so he notices nothing. Then he takes out a hammer hidden in a book and gives it to Yong-sik. He runs off and hits something repeatedly until smoke fills the cell. It turns out they were using the hammer to fix the thermostat so they could boil water and cook instant noodles. Je-Hyuk is not allowed to join, so he hides under his blanket in frustration, but when they invite him to eat, he already has chopsticks ready. The next day is Labor Day, and all prisoners go to the wood shop. When the wood truck arrives, everyone rushes to unload it, but Dr. Gu, who shares the cell with Je-Hyuk, stops him from working because of his shoulder injury. The leader agrees and gives Je-Hyuk lighter tasks, which makes the others jealous. At night, Je-Hyuk and Dr. Go stay late to finish work with a few other prisoners who complain that overtime hours are unpaid because the leader keeps the money. After a tiring day, they return to rest and find a new prisoner in their cell. The newcomer seems drug addicted and acts rudely, so the others gang up on him. Je-Hyuk stays quiet and looks at his photo with Ji-Ho, while Ji-Ho is at home talking to her sister about her feelings. She says she feels like she's the only one who loves Je-Hyuk, but her sister reminds her that no man would skip an important game just to bring cold medicine to someone he didn't care for. Despite that, their lack of communication leads to their breakup. That night, Je-Hyuk wakes up because Dr. Go is writing a complaint about unpaid overtime. He has also written one demanding daily hot baths as a prisoner's right. The next morning, he bravely hands the complaint to Warden Pang, and thanks to that, the prisoners get to enjoy hot baths freely. Dr. Go even writes another petition requesting that Je-Hyuk not do hard labor due to his injury, but Je-Hyuk hides it because he doesn't want special treatment. Later, because of Dr. Go's actions, the corrupt staff who embezzled prisoner wages are punished, and everyone begins receiving fair pay. However, this angers the ones who benefited from the corruption. The next day, someone steals a wrench, and Warden Pang orders to gather all the prisoners and do a full search. The missing tool is found in Je-Hyuk's bag, and some prisoners who hate him use this chance to cause trouble. They cut off the power, and one even tries to attack him with the wrench, but the team leader intervenes. However, he is not kind either, and he breaks Je-Hyuk's mop and then beats the other prisoners to show dominance. It is soon revealed that the leader is also a pervert, and he orders his men to restrain Je-Hyuk before committing a lewd act. Fortunately, Junho arrives in time and turns on the lights. Meanwhile, back in the cell, the prisoners are waiting for the movie to start, but they are unable to switch the TV to the right channel. Mr. Kang tries to build an antenna out of steel wire, but Minchul points out that cable TV doesn't need one. Mr. Kang then melts the TV's plastic with fire from a battery and toilet paper, trying to change the channel. It doesn't work until Mr. Kang, who had gone to see the warden, returns with the real remote. The group then starts talking about their pasts. Mr. Kang was once a skilled engineer, but he was jailed for gambling. Dr. Go was a finance head who embezzled $1 billion but still loves to complain. Han Yang is the son of a hot pot tycoon who ended up in prison for drug use, while his mother refused to help him to make him reflect. Mr. Kang stole a cake delivery truck after being jobless for too long, and Minchul is a murderer whose sentence was reduced for good behavior. Meanwhile, Je-Hyuk's sister calls Ji-Ho and tells her that her brother still loves her and thinks about her all the time. She says Je-Hyuk was her first love, and she shouldn't abandon him completely. Hearing this, Ji-Ho starts remembering their old memories together. The next morning in prison, they eat chicken together to strengthen their friendship. Later, Je-Hyuk talks to Junho, who curiously asks about his girlfriend. Je-Hyuk shyly admits they broke up but doesn't say more. Later, reporters begin calling the prison director for interviews, and although he refuses at first, his pride makes him agree when he sees other officers getting media attention. Je-Hyuk requests a hospital visit to check his hand, but the warden uses it as leverage and says he must agree to an interview first. Outside, Junho consults the prison doctor, but the man is lazy and says the prison lacks equipment. Later, Junho returns home, where his younger brother shows him a photo of Je-Hyuk's ex-girlfriend. Junho realizes she is the daughter of their late baseball coach. The next day, Je-Ho visits the prison with Je-Hyuk's mother and meets Junho again, and they talk naturally, like old friends. Je-Hyuk's younger sister also visits, but cannot bring herself to face him because she still blames herself for his imprisonment. Some days later, a music competition is announced in the prison, and whoever wins gets a day off. Dr. Go doesn't care at first, but after hearing that his daughter needs surgery and wants to see him, so he signs up and practices hard. The singing contest and interview day approach, but Je-Hyuk still hasn't agreed to appear. This frustrates the director, and he forces him back into hard labor despite his injury. The team leader takes advantage of this and assigns impossible workloads while threatening that anyone who slows down will go hungry. The team leader only wants to threaten Je-Hyuk, but Dr. Go knows about his injury, so he quietly helps him with some chores. When the others are allowed to eat, the team leader uses Je-Hyuk's slow work as an excuse to hit him with a stick. Je-Hyuk doesn't dodge and takes the hit straight on, which makes his head bleed. He does this on purpose as he hopes to get a chance for outside treatment. During the hospital checkup, he learns that his arm is badly injured and he can never play baseball again. His close friend Junho visits and brings his favorite food, which makes him emotional. Junho encourages him to keep practicing while saying he was strong before and can be strong again because he never gives up. That night, Junho stays at the hospital with him and asks about his love story. Je-Hyuk smiles as he remembers how Jae-ho confessed first in the rain long ago. At that time, he saw her as a younger sister, but still took care of her when she was heartbroken by taking her to eat spicy ribs. At midnight, he writes down his thoughts about her quietly. On the other side, the singing contest begins in the prison, and the prize is a day of freedom. So everyone sings passionately. Dr. Go sings beautifully in the hope of winning and seeing his daughter. But in the end, there is no prize. The officials use the talk of a reduced sentence to pressure him into doing an interview because they cannot force Je-Hyuk. To everyone's surprise, it is Je-Hyuk who appears before the camera. He doesn't want others to suffer for him, so he sits down and calmly announces his retirement due to his shoulder injury. Back in the cell, Dr. Go only receives a box of bread instead of freedom, and he loses hope. To comfort everyone, Mr. Kang opens a bottle of wine he has hidden for a long time, and they eat and drink together. Guard Pang catches them, but Je-Hyuk isn't worried because Pang is not like the others. He even tries to stop Chief Na's order to send Je-Hyuk to work despite his injury, but he has no power. He now offers to secretly arrange a night medical trip for Je-Hyuk, but Je-Hyuk refuses, not wanting to cause him trouble. Later, Junho visits Je-Hyuk's sister with flowers and gently tells her that Je-Hyuk never blamed her and would make the same choice again, so she shouldn't cry anymore. Hearing these words, she breaks down in tears and hugs him. Now the scene shows the governor, who keeps reading news articles about Geo. When Junho comes to meet him, the governor asks if what he said earlier about quitting baseball is true, and he confirms that he has indeed quit baseball. Meanwhile, an order comes that Jung-woo will be sent outside the prison to work. He becomes very happy knowing he'll be allowed to work outside. His father tells him to work properly, earn money, and not get into any trouble. A few days later, a carpentry contest was held with a 5 million won prize. Dr. Go joins with Je-Hyuk as his assistant. Je-Hyuk gets distracted watching another skilled carpenter, and that man wins first place, while Dr. Go finishes fifth. Later, when the prison prepares for inspection, everyone destroys forbidden items, but the director notices Jin's tampered watch and finds traces of a hidden blade. Pang defends Jin, but the director ignores him. Even Minchul bows to beg for Jin's sake, but it's useless. Panicked and afraid to lose his upcoming release, he betrays Minchul and accuses him of owning the watch, and Minchul is sent to solitary confinement. Dr. Go later uses his prize money to buy cakes for everyone, but another prisoner named Sanj grows angry when he doesn't receive his money. He smashes everything, exposing that the team leader and guard Lee stole the funds. The truth comes out when they print the records and find the prize money in the team leader's account because Warden Lee used his number during registration. Lee had planned to remove the team leader since the prisoners respected him more. The team leader is fired, and Lee takes control again. On the other side, Minchul returns from the confinement cell and still treats Jin kindly and tells him to live a good life outside. Jin cries in shame and guilt when he is released, while Minchul watches him go like a father sending his son away. On Je-Hyuk's birthday, the prison gives him a baseball field as a gift, and the director thanks him for the interview. But Je-Hyuk is not happy, and he finally confesses that he has cancer. He has gone through 12 rounds of chemotherapy and trained through the pain. He admits that he hated baseball, but was forced to play. He shouts out all the anger and sadness he has kept inside and leaves quietly. Later, a new inmate named Yu Mu arrives in their cell. He is the same Captain Yu who had killed his teammate and was sentenced to 3 or 5 years in prison. He acts cold and superior, and even mentions Je-Hyuk's failed baseball career. Later, everyone joins the Buddhist festival. Je-Hyuk plays shuttlecock and almost succeeds, but catches it with his hand out of habit, which ruins the game. Mr. Kang gets upset because he wanted to win cigarettes hidden in the prize noodles. The next game is foot volleyball, and Mr. Kang again bets on Je-Hyuk, but he keeps catching the ball with his hands, and they lose again. Mr. Kang still doesn't give up and looks forward to the next event, the Golden Bell Quiz. Only Dr. Go joins because he is smart, and Mr. Kang puts all his hopes on him. Dr. Go promises that if he wins, he will share the instant noodles with everyone, which makes Mr. Kang sigh helplessly. The next day, the quiz begins, and everyone cheers for Dr. Go. He reaches the final round but loses on the last question. Surprisingly, the winner is Han-young, who turns out to be a top university graduate who became addicted to drugs. Mr. Kang had secretly promised him more drugs if he won, so they both got what they wanted. When they return to the cell, Han-yang also comes back, and the room turns quiet again. But Han-young suddenly says Je-Hyuk looks handsome. Meanwhile, Junho secretly calls everyone out and reveals his plan to help Je-Hyuk regain his passion for baseball. They agree immediately and use dry ice to create a dreamlike scene pretending to be the spirit of his late coach, who encourages him to play again. The act touches Je-Hyuk deeply, and the next morning, Junho sees him back on the field practicing. He throws the ball with all his emotion, while Junho hugs him from behind and tells him to keep going. He admits he is afraid of expectations and failure, but Junho tells him that people move on and forget quickly, so he should stand on the field one last time before retiring. Everyone also supports him, and Minchul even sells his radio to buy Je-Hyuk new workout bands. Without the radio, Han-young becomes the singer of the cell and lifts the mood with his voice. One day, Han-young is called for questioning, and while he is waiting, he suddenly smashes the glass door with a chair and jumps out. Warden Pang panics and sends guards after him, but when they check the cameras, they discover that Han-yang broke the door only to save an officer who was having a heart attack. Pang feels guilty for misunderstanding him and realizes that even the coldest people can have good hearts. Warden Pang takes the initiative to apologize to Han-young and gives him a sausage. Han-young doesn't get angry and accepts it with a calm smile. The next day, both Je-Hyuk and Han-young have visitors. The woman sitting across from Han-young is the one who reported him, but she visits because she still hopes he will quit drugs and start a new life. The woman sitting in front of Je-Hyuk is the one he loves most, Ji-ho. To her surprise, Je-Hyuk tells her this will be their last meeting. She goes home heartbroken and throws away their photo while crying. Je-Hyuk doesn't feel good either, but he doesn't want Je-ho to waste her youth waiting for him when she could find happiness elsewhere. Everyone in prison fears Warden Pang, but Captain Yu looks him straight in the eyes. It makes Pang curious, so he reads his file and learns that he once studied at a military officer academy, graduated as a second lieutenant, and even studied abroad in the US. Pang then hears from another officer that the autopsy report says the private died from a gunshot, which makes him suspect that there is more to the case. During interrogation, Captain Yu had admitted to hitting the privateer, but insisted he didn't hit hard enough to kill. The military never investigated properly and blamed him for protecting powerful people. In prison, Captain Yu lives with noisy roommates who sing and dance every day and even joke around during meals. A special day called Roll Call Day arrives, and on this day, the most disciplined cell wins a reward. The reward is when their family visits, they can touch their loved ones without a glass between them. Everyone is determined to help Han-young stay awake and shout during roll call. A kind guard secretly tells them that roll call day will be on Monday, and even winks at Captain Yu as he leaves. Meanwhile, Je-Hyuk works in the workshop by day and practices pitching at night. His arm is still weak and his throws are inaccurate, but he keeps training patiently as he believes that he can return to form one day. When roll call day comes, Han-young manages to shout clearly, and their cell wins. A journalist visits to interview Je-Hyuk, who uses the chance to mention Dr. Go's complaint letter that guards had been hiding. To impress the media, the prison director opens the letter in front of the cameras. The letter proposes a fair vote for a new head of the wood workshop. The director agrees immediately, as he doesn't realize the impact. Sanji wants to stay as the leader, but the prisoners reject him. Dr. Go tries to nominate himself, but is also turned down because of his education level. Dr. Go nominates Je-Hyuk because he doesn't want Sanji to keep the position. Flyers are made and distributed, and the prisoners quickly grow fond of the honest and polite Je-Hyuk. To gain attention, Dr. Go and Je-Hyuk even dance together, which makes everyone laugh. But at night, Je-Hyuk can't sleep because he misses Je-Ho. She also stays up late studying at a coffee shop. Her college friend, who secretly likes her, keeps trying to comfort her even though she shows no interest. Meanwhile, Je-Hyuk's younger sister Je-Hee finishes work and gets picked up by her boyfriend, who happens to be Junho's younger brother. And he does this on Junho's orders. In the election, Je-Hyuk gets 9 votes, while Sanji gets 12, and the remaining 4 votes belong to the addicts. Dr. Go approaches them with flyers, but doesn't offer anything in exchange, so they ignore him. He tries begging, but fails, and finally writes letters appealing to them. When the results are announced, Je-Hyuk surprisingly wins and becomes the new leader. It turns out Beoja helped by bribing the addicts with ice cream because he secretly deals drugs in prison and can control them easily. After days of hard work, Je-Hyuk's training pays off and his pitches finally hit the center again. He discovers he can throw accurately with both hands and realizes that if he keeps practicing, he might truly return to baseball someday. When the unblocked visitation day arrives, everyone meets their loved ones. Han Young's girlfriend holds his hand tenderly, but he coldly rejects her. Dr. Go meets his wife, but she looks disappointed after realizing he took the blame for his company's crimes. She tells him he could have lived freely with his intelligence instead of wasting his life in prison, and they both return to their cells in sadness. Je-Hyuk and Min-chul receive no visitors, while Captain Yu meets his older brother. His brother believes he's innocent and has been gathering evidence to prove it. The truth comes out, and the private who died was bullied by the sons of powerful men in the barracks. He had only tried to stop them, but was framed after the murder, and the real killer, who was a congressman's son, forced others to testify against him. His brother finds the private's duty card, which shows that he was still alive after Captain Yu hit him, and proves that the death happened later at night. One day, Captain Yu gets into a fight with another inmate during a counseling session after being provoked. They both exchange punches before Warden Pang breaks them up. The director punishes them by banning calls and visits for 2 weeks and deducting training points. The other prisoner complains, but the director threatens to move him to a worse cell, and he stays silent. Captain Yu remains stubborn and refuses to apologize. Meanwhile, Dr. Go begins to feel severe stomach pain. He suspects appendicitis and asks to go to the hospital, but the director refuses since an inspection is coming. Min-chul begs on his behalf, and the director finally agrees on one condition: that every inmate in their cell must write a sincere letter requesting Dr. Go's treatment. Everyone looks at Captain Yu because they know he will refuse. Captain Yu stays silent, and the others get frustrated, and Han Young calls him heartless. Je-Hyuk gently tells him that even if life is unfair, people still have to keep living, whether inside or outside prison. His calm words make Captain Yu think deeply, and he finally agrees to write the letter. Warden Pang invites Captain Yu for coffee and listens as he opens up about his injustice. Captain Yu finally explains everything to Warden Pang about how the privileged sons bullied and killed the private, how everyone lied to protect them, and how the system betrayed him. His brother continues to fight outside while holding banners every day in front of the military gates. One day, he meets a man named Jong-hoon, who confirms that Captain was framed and gives him more proof. Back in prison, Je-Hyuk accidentally breaks the pen box and desk while assembling furniture, and he gets fired from the workshop leader position, and Dr. Go takes over. Meanwhile, Je-Hyuk keeps practicing baseball, and his movements are getting smoother. Jun-ho watches proudly, but one day he is called away because a prisoner has attempted suicide. It turns out some inmates forced a weak prisoner to hang himself just to be sent outside for smuggled goods, but the guards noticed in time. On the other side, Dr. Go is allowed to go for treatment, and he learns he has small kidney stones that will pass only by drinking lots of water. Though in pain, he still pays Pang to deliver a letter asking his company about his salary. The reply reveals the cruel truth that the company used his name to cover up a contract fraud and promised to fund his daughter's studies abroad if he continued to take the blame. The realization makes Dr. Go cry helplessly. Meanwhile, Junho meets Jae-hee in the restaurant where she works and treats her kindly, because back when Jae-hyuk was a star, Jae-hyuk had always treated Jun and his friends with genuine warmth. Inside prison, Jae-hyuk lives in harmony with his cellmates, and they all care for each other. Everyone shares food equally, and the atmosphere feels warm even in confinement. Only Han-yang remains in a daze most of the time, which often leads to him being dragged out by Mr. Kang for punishment. Captain Yu gradually adapts to life in prison and no longer appears cold or distant. He even holds Jae-hyuk's legs to help him do push-ups. Late that night, Min-chul quietly takes out a book and learns how much Dr. Go has suffered from injustice and guilt. The next evening, Min-chul asks Warden Pang to let him and Dr. Go speak privately. During their talk, Min-chul scolds Dr. Go for being too weak and letting the director use him like a fool. He tells Dr. Go that even if his daughter studies abroad with the company's money, a home without a father and husband can never be truly happy. Min-chul hopes that Dr. Go will stop working for corrupt people. Dr. Go already feels regret, but he is powerless to change anything. His cellmates decide to help him and suggest that when the director comes again to pressure Dr. Go into taking the blame, he should secretly record the conversation. Since no recording devices are allowed in the visiting room, they depend on their ally, Warden Pang, to help. Not long after, the director visits Dr. Go and offers money again and asks him to continue taking the blame and stay in prison for a few more years. He promises more pay and education for Dr. Go's daughter, but Dr. Go cannot endure it anymore. He declares that he has already recorded everything and that the director's crimes will now face justice. The director is shocked and turns pale, and even Warden Pang is surprised to see this new side of Dr. Go. Meanwhile, Captain Yu's older brother visits him and says that he has found a witness who agreed to testify in court to prove his innocence. The witness, Captain Yang Hun, once served under Captain Yu. In the past, he had been too afraid to testify because of powerful pressure, but his guilt has tormented him ever since. He remembers how Captain Yu had once spared him from punishment when he left base without permission to visit his sick mother. Captain Yu even lent him a phone to call home and says that filial piety is not a crime. Because of that kindness, Jong Hun decides to repay the favor and testify no matter the cost. He promises to contact other soldiers and convince them to tell the truth. Back in prison, Mr. Kang shares the bad news that his sixth wife has left him for another man. While he is heartbroken, Warden Pang calls Dr. Go for a private talk. Pang sadly informs him that he will be transferred to another prison. Pang warns him that the new place is dangerous and filled with evil people and tells him to stop writing complaints for his own safety. If anyone bullies him there, Pang says he can write to him and he will handle it. Dr. Go returns to his room silently and spends the night staring at the moon while thinking of his wife and daughter. The next morning, while everyone eats breakfast, Dr. Go quietly announces that he is being moved. The whole room falls silent and everyone struggles to hold back tears. Minchul gives Dr. Go the money he had saved to buy his daughter a Children's Day gift. As Dr. Go leaves, everyone waves goodbye with heavy hearts. Before leaving, he tells Je-Hyuk that he has left a gift for him in the kitchen cabinet. After Dr. Go leaves, Je-Hyuk opens the cabinet and finds a diary. Inside are detailed notes about every time he practiced, including the number of throws and mistakes. On the last page, Dr. Go has written words of encouragement with the hope that Je-Hyuk will one day return to baseball. So Je-Hyuk decides to train harder. One day, everyone in the room has visitors except Minchul, and he tries not to show his sadness, but it is clear. Suddenly, Warden Pang calls him out and tells him that someone came to visit. To his surprise, it is Jin Woo, his old foster son, who promises that he will live honestly and earn money on his own so that when Minchul is released, they can live together. To honor him, he buys 100 chicken thighs and 100 cartons of milk and sends them to the whole prison under Minchul's name. Encouraged by Dr. Go's diary, Je-Hyuk trains more seriously and his throwing strength improves day by day. Junho even designs a simple speed measuring device for him. The stronger Je-Hyuk throws, the more wooden layers the ball tears apart. When Je-Hyuk's ball breaks through the last layer, Junho and Beoja cheer with joy. Je-Hyuk wants to tell Jae-ho about this, but cannot find the courage. When he hears her voice, he immediately hangs up, but Junho encourages him to call her again, and even leaves his phone for him. However, Je-Hyuk hesitates and decides instead to write her a letter, hoping it will express what he cannot say. On the other hand, Jae-ho receives flowers from a close friend who confesses his feelings for her. She looks at the flowers quietly, unsure whether to accept this new love or continue waiting for Je-Hyuk. Back in prison, Je-Hyuk's cell prepares to welcome a new inmate. He is Dong-ho, the one who stabbed Je-Hyuk in the shoulder and nearly ended his career. Dong-ho's eyes burn with hatred as he asks where Je-Hyuk is. He even speaks rudely to Minchul, not realizing who he is dealing with. Minchul grabs Dong-ho by the neck and slams him against the wall while warning him never to cause trouble again. However, Dong-ho still looks for revenge, so Junho tries to transfer him to another cell, but all the rooms are full. Dong-ho joins forces with the fat gang leader, who lets him in only to expand his power. Everyone in Je-Hyuk's room becomes alert and starts watching Dong-ho's every move. At night, when Je-Hyuk goes to the bathroom, all four cellmates follow him closely, even Captain Yu. When Je-Hyuk washes dishes, they stand around him as a human wall. However, one day, while everyone is working, Je-Hyuk goes to take out the trash alone. Dong-ho sees his chance and pours solvent on his shirt. Then he locks the trash room, sets the fire, and blocks the exit. Thick black smoke fills the air, but by mistake, the old janitor is the one trapped inside. Seeing the fire, Je-Hyuk rushes back, injures his shoulder again while breaking the door, and carries the old man out to safety. The old man breaks down in tears while saying he no longer wants to live. Later, Je-Hyuk notices the old man's shirt is torn and secretly leaves his own for him. The old man silently puts it on and feels warmth for the first time in years. Je-Hyuk visits the old man in the hospital and learns his daughter was assaulted by 4 rich students who went unpunished because of their powerful families. The old man waited until they were released from juvenile prison and killed all 4. Everyone sees him as a murderer, but they also understand his pain. After this incident, Je-Hyuk can no longer tolerate Dong-ho's cruelty and confronts him in the bathroom. As soon as he sees Dong-ho, Je-Hyuk rushes forward and punches him several times with all his strength, while Jun-ho hurries in to stop the fight before it turns deadly. Je-Hyuk is beating Dong-ho to avenge the old man, and Jun-ho is afraid that Je-Hyuk might lose control and accidentally kill him, so he rushes in to stop the fight. Because of the incident, Je-Hyuk is locked in a punishment room but is released shortly after, since Dong-ho was the one who caused trouble first. When he confirms that his arm is fine, Je-Hyuk thoughtfully brings a pot of wallflowers to the old man. The flowers symbolize loneliness and longing for loved ones, but also carry a message of encouragement to stay strong. The old man feels touched and realizes that there is still kindness and love among people. Outside the prison, Captain Yu's brother finds a witness and brings him to a lawyer to discuss the case. They have evidence showing the duty times and the private signature, but they still need more witnesses to win. The case begins to show signs of progress. Je-Hyuk's situation also improves when his lawyer visits and tells him that 10 major baseball teams are waiting to sign him. Je-Hyuk decides to call Je-Ho again, and this time, she manages to speak before he hangs up. She reminds him that they have already broken up and that he was the one who ended the relationship. She says their love is over and hangs up, which leaves Je-Hyuk heartbroken and miserable. In the cell, Han-young becomes determined to quit drugs and begins to recover. He will soon be released from prison and inherit his mother's fortune. If not for his addiction, he would have been just as good as Captain Yu in both looks and education. The two are the same age and fight all day, so the room is never quiet. The others are used to their noise and even enjoy watching them fight. One day, Captain Yu hits Han-young for secretly reading Je-Hyuk's love letter. Meanwhile, Dong-ho is locked in a medical room, but during mealtime, he notices Yong-sik. He takes a razor hidden in the wall and threatens him. Yong-sik becomes frightened and tries to approach Je-Hyuk during mealtime and tells him that he has some nutritional supplements for him. However, Je-Hyuk only takes the medicine prescribed by the doctor and refuses. Mr. Kang wants to take the pills instead, but Yong-sik quickly finds an excuse and runs away, which makes everyone suspicious. Captain Yu stops Je-Hyuk from taking any food or medicine given by others. He worries that someone might be trying to slip in drugs to frame Je-Hyuk. Later, it is revealed that Dong-ho has been threatening Yong-sik to drug Je-Hyuk, and Dong-ho promises to kill him if he refuses. Yong-sik at first refuses, but when he hears there are 3 million won in Dong-ho's account and that he will get the money if he succeeds, his conscience wavers. Captain Yu's own case also faces difficulties as Jong-hoon tries to contact their old comrades, but no one dares to testify against the son of a powerful leader. In the cell, Mr. Kong and Han-young continue their battle, and Mr. Kang rubs chili on Han-young's eyes, who does the same in return. Suddenly, a fire breaks out outside the prison, and Warden Pang immediately rushes to open all the cell doors to save the prisoners. Fortunately, Director Na presses the emergency button to close the doors and announces that the fire is contained and no one is hurt. Later, some guards mock Warden Pang in the locker room for acting recklessly. Jun-ho overhears and learns more about Pang's past that before being transferred here, Warden Pang worked at Kuki Prison, where a massive fire killed 50 prisoners. In the area under his charge, only one person died because Pang risked his life to open each cell door by hand. His body was burned from his shoulders to his wrists, which is why he always wears long sleeves no matter the weather. In the director's office, Director Na suggests cutting Pang's salary and blocking his promotion for 6 months. When he proposes transferring Pang to another prison, the prison director gets angry and refuses. He insists that Pang must stay because only he can manage the prisoners properly. Back in the prison, Je-Hyuk almost takes a stomach medicine, but Han-young snatches it away. Everyone thinks Han-young is having withdrawal symptoms, but he explains that the pill is not the usual one Je-Hyuk takes. Han-young has experience with many pills, so he recognizes that it is laced with something harmful. Everyone realizes that someone tried to frame Je-Hyuk again, and this time, they lose trust in Yong-sik completely. The next day, Je-Hyuk's lawyer brings good news that a baseball club wants to sign him and prove to the media that his talent is real. They even visit his practice area and film his training to show his genuine effort. The prison director also wants to support him, so he ignores Director Na's objections and allows Je-Hyuk to call Je-Ho. Je-Hyuk tries repeatedly to reach her, but she avoids answering because she is afraid of being rejected again. Je-Hyuk then goes to see Dong-ho, and Jun-ho fears he might attack and even carries a gun, but Je-Hyuk only wants to make peace. Dong-ho is moved and returns to his old cell, and everyone becomes quiet and wary around him. But Je-Hyuk remains cheerful and optimistic. He buys snacks for everyone, including Dong-ho. At first, Dong-ho feels shy and embarrassed, but Je-Hyuk invites him warmly. Min-chul also calls him gently, and when everyone insists, Dong-ho finally joins them. Mr. Kang divides the cake evenly, and the atmosphere turns friendly again. Later, they confront the fat boss who had once protected Dong-ho, and Je-Hyuk throws an apple at the boss's head with perfect aim, which scares him and his men away. Dong-ho feels grateful and volunteers to be Je-Hyuk's catcher during practice. He turns out to be talented and catches the ball easily, and Je-Hyuk tells him he doesn't need to act like a servant, just live normally like everyone else. For the first time, Dong-ho feels what it's like to be part of a real family. The group continues their lively days together. Mr. Kang flirts with women through letters and receives 6 replies from female prisoners. He tries to involve everyone, but only Dong-ho joins since he is single. Both men soon fall for women who promise to visit them, unaware that the letters come from the same person. When the day comes, the woman visits Mr. Kang, and to his shock, it is his ex-wife. She informs him that their son has hepatitis and needs a liver transplant. Her blood type does not match, so she asks Mr. Kang for help. Despite their painful past, Mr. Kang immediately agrees to donate, and for the first time, he feels proud as a father. The surgery is successful, and the prison director rewards Mr. Kang by shortening his sentence. Everyone prays for his recovery and feels inspired by his selflessness. Even Han-young continues to endure withdrawal pains with the determination to change his life. Warden Pang announces the success of the surgery, and everyone celebrates. Mr. Kang only wishes to see his son again, and even his ex-wife cannot deny his love as a father. Captain Yu's brother continues to travel tirelessly to help with the legal case, sacrificing his own job and home. Meanwhile, Je-Hyuk begins writing letters to Jae-ho again and hopes that she might return one day. Life in the prison cell slowly becomes warmer as everyone learns to cherish the small and simple things around them. Mr. Kang's son discovers that the man who donated his liver is actually the father who once abandoned him, but he refuses to meet him. This breaks Mr. Kang's heart, and he cries deeply when he returns to the cell. To ensure his health, Mr. Kang is transferred to another prison in the south. The news saddens everyone because he was the one who always made them laugh, but they accept that life is full of separations. Soon after, Warden Pang brings good news that Min-chul has won a round of amnesty for his good behavior and will be released soon. The cell will lose another person, but everyone feels happy for him because they believe that as long as they meet and treat each other well, there will be no regrets when they part. Je-Hyuk still does not know that Junho is dating his sister, so he keeps asking Junho who the girl is that makes his heart flutter. Junho stays silent and does not dare to confess. Later, when he returns to his room, he calls his girlfriend Jae-hee and talks happily with her. When Jae-hee says she wants to go out for breakfast, Junho stays up all night with his younger brother booking a table online at a famous pasta restaurant. After many tries, they finally get a reservation and hug each other in excitement. The next day, the prison feels quieter because Captain Yu criticizes Han-young's gentle personality. Mr. Kang is gone, and now there is no one for Han-young to rest his feet on while sleeping. Han-young wants to be close to Captain Yu, but when he approaches him, Captain Yu bluntly says that he does not like boys touching him. He does not mean to discriminate, but simply feels uncomfortable. Han-young feels hurt and walks sadly to the soccer field with Je-Hyuk. His emotions are fragile, but soon he feels happy again when Junho praises him for improving in his drug treatment. After comforting Han-young, Junho begins to notice that Jae-hyuk's pitching is off. The doctor diagnoses it as amnesia and explains that Jae-hyuk's arm no longer remembers how to throw straight. The cause is psychological pressure rather than any physical injury. The therapy begins with hypnosis, but the doctor accidentally uses a watch soaked in sleeping pills, which causes Je-Hyuk to fall asleep too fast. When he wakes up, he drinks what he thinks is soda, but spits it out because it is actually fish sauce. The first method fails, so they move to psychological therapy, and Je-Hyuk is asked to draw a life chart showing his highs and lows. He keeps drawing the line downward, even to the floor, which shows how deep his mental state has fallen. Junho watches and worries that Je-Hyuk might develop a serious mental issue. As a last resort, Junho shows him videos from his prime baseball days, and the video reminds Je-Hyuk of the time he was most admired, but also of the day Jae-ho left him because he forgot her birthday. Seeing this, Junho gets frustrated and calls Jae-ho and explains everything. The next day, they meet at a cafe, and Jae-ho admits that she still loves Je-Hyuk, but is not yet ready to see him. When she hears about his pitching issue, she gives Junho a simple idea. She says to mark an X in the center of Jae-Hyuk's glove and tell him to throw the ball at that point. Since Je-Hyuk is a simple thinker, It might help him focus again. Junho tries it, and it works. Je-Hyuk's pitching becomes straight and strong once more. To motivate him further, Junho tells him that Jae-ho might visit him soon if he keeps improving. The mention of her name fills Je-Hyuk with energy, and he trains even harder. One day, Captain Yu receives a letter and a package of cakes from a lawyer. At first, he is happy, but his joy fades when he reads that his brother lost his job because of him, and the lawyer assumed Captain Yu already knew. Feeling guilty, Captain Yu confides in his cellmates while they drink together. He calls them his family and says that his brother's suffering is his fault. Meanwhile, his brother also stays up all night, worried that Captain Yu might lose confidence before his retrial. Minchul prepares for his interview and feels relaxed when he meets the polite young woman who interviews him. Elsewhere, Director Na begins investigating the contraband problem in Zone 6. He tricks Dejun into confessing that he traded items with Han-young, who is now weak and feverish due to drug withdrawal. Dejun's group plans to make him relapse by secretly mixing addictive substances into his food so that they can frame him as an accomplice. Late at night, while pretending to be asleep in the infirmary, they wait for their chance. Warden Pang grows suspicious when he notices missing staff and immediately rushes to the infirmary. There, Dejun's men have restrained Han-young and are forcing him to take the drug. But just before they succeed, Captain Yu and the guards arrive and stop them. Captain Yu had sensed something wrong earlier and ordered the guards to check, and it saved Han-young's life. After this, Han-young no longer feels hurt toward Captain Yu and even encourages him to face his fears about his brother. His words give Captain Yu new strength, and he decides to ask his brother to stay with him until the end, and his brother gladly agrees. Minchul later meets the same girl again for another interview and is surprised when she becomes emotional. When her handbag falls, a necklace slips out, and Minchul recognizes the ring on it as the one he once gave his wife. He asks if she is his daughter, and the girl tearfully admits that she is. Minchul remembers how his wife had given him new shoes before he was framed and arrested. After that day, he lost contact with her and never saw his family again until now. Meanwhile, the prison boss and a new team leader plot to expose Je-Hyuk by writing a false article claiming that baseball players receive unfair privileges. Je-Hyuk remains unaware and keeps training diligently, and his pitching improves daily. Minchul becomes quiet and reflective after reuniting with his daughter as he realizes how much time he lost. The others try to cheer him up during meals, and even Dong-ho acts kinder than before. Han-young's health stabilizes as his release day approaches, but he continues to joke and tease everyone because he knows his time with them is coming to an end. The day Han-young is released from prison, his whole family waits for him at the hot pot restaurant. This time, his strict mother, who always puts work first, also comes. At the prison gate, Han-young steps out into freedom for the first time in years. However, the man who once lured him into taking drugs appears and injects him with a strong dose that triggers his addiction again. Overwhelmed by the craving, Han-young loses control and makes another mistake. The police immediately rush in and arrest him while a man outside waves from a car, which shows that everything was planned. The engagement ring his boyfriend prepared was never given, and his parents are not allowed to see their son. While Je-Hyuk is practicing, a prison servant calls him and says the director wants to see him. When he arrives, he finds the team leader waiting in the warehouse. The leader uses Je-Hyuk's private training yard as leverage and demands 300 million won to keep quiet. Je-Hyuk feels lost because he truly does receive better treatment than others. Later, Dong-ho tells him he has made a bed ready and invites him to sleep. Je-Hyuk thanks him and transfers the money to his account for helping him during training. Even with all this, Je-Hyuk never feels superior to anyone. Captain Yu's case begins to improve when Warden Pang brings him an article showing that public opinion is shifting in his favor and that the real culprit is being exposed. Meanwhile, Jae-ho finally visits Je-Hyuk. They look at each other and laugh at how foolishly they once broke up. When he says he misses her, she smiles and puts their couple rings back on. Their relationship finally returns to the way it was before. Hajin continues visiting Minchul after their first interview. Now that they know they are father and daughter, they talk warmly. Hajin says her mother always told her that her father was a good man, and now she knows it is true. Hearing this comforts Minchul deeply, and he prays in church, thanking God for giving him such a kind daughter and asking for a chance to start over. Warden Pang then tells him the good news that he is on the Christmas pardon list, and everyone in the cell celebrates for him. The team leader grows angry when Je-Hyuk refuses to give him money. He goes to the boss and suggests taking photos of Je-Hyuk training in his private yard to sell to reporters. However, when they sneak into the yard, they find it empty, and this happens because Je-Ho gives Je-Hyuk advice. She asks him whether he wants to win or simply play baseball because he loves it. Her words wake him up, and he asks the director to remove the private private training yard so he can be treated like any other prisoner, and the director agrees. Soon, another problem appears when Baeo-ja is accused of drug trafficking and sent to solitary confinement. It becomes clear that the team leader is targeting everyone around Je-Hyuk for revenge. One night, Je-Hyuk messages Je-Ho asking if she would still stay with him if he gave up baseball. Je-Ho comforts him and promises to stay by his side no matter what. Meanwhile, Captain Yu's brother receives a threatening letter saying that if he testifies in court, he will be killed. Many former comrades receive the same threats and are scared. When Captain Yu gets to know about this, he feels guilty as he realizes that it is his fault. Later, at night, Minchul shows everyone his many certificates, which include gardening, engineering, and architecture. Hearing this, Je-Hyuk jokes that if Minchul starts a business after leaving prison, he will invest in it. This makes Minchul happy, and he later tells Dong-ho all his old business ideas, even if they are outdated. The next morning, a guard whispers to Captain Yu that there will be a room inspection at night. Everyone feels calm since they live honestly, but Je-Hyuk stays cautious. He later finds a pack of cigarettes hidden in Minchul's pocket and realizes the team leader planted it to destroy Minchul's chance at parole. He also suspects the team leader sent the threatening letters to Captain Yu's witness. Je-Hyuk wants to confront him, but the others tell him to stay calm because they are close to release. Dong-ho gets beaten by the boss and lies that he fell, but Je-Hyuk notices his bruised hands and understands what happened. The boss forbids Dong-ho from helping Je-Hyuk train. To stop this, Je-Hyuk meets the team leader at night. The leader demands 300 million again and plans to betray the boss. Je-Hyuk pays him, but the leader still wants to humiliate him and orders him to meet alone at the garbage area at midnight. At midnight, Je-Hyuk arrives holding a heavy iron weight. The leader taunts him with Je-Ho's name while thinking that Je-Hyuk will not dare to kill, but Je-Hyuk walks forward filled with rage. Just before he strikes, a piece of wood hits the team leader from behind. It is the old man who burns garbage, and he attacks the leader to protect Je-Hyuk. Je-Hyuk quickly stops him, as he is afraid that he will kill the man. The old man thanks him for saving his life before and reminds him not to ruin his future for someone worthless. The injured team leader is taken to the hospital and tries to accuse Je-Hyuk of beating him, but Warden Pang says the old man already confessed and shows the recording of the team leader demanding money. The warden also reveals that the recording includes his plan to betray the boss. Je-Hyuk asks the warden to send it to the boss so that justice is done. Baeo-ji is released from solitary confinement and soon from prison. Before he leaves, Je-Hyuk writes him a letter of encouragement promising to hire him as his secretary one day. When Christmas arrives, Minchul is finally released. Everyone hugs him with tears, and Je-Hyuk calls him the best player he has ever met. While Minchul thanks him for being like a son, he also tells Captain Yu to stay strong and fight for justice. Outside, he hugs Warden Pang and promises to live well and keep in touch. Meanwhile, Junho is angry when he hears that Warden Pang hit a prisoner, but when he learns the prisoner threatened the warden's family, he rushes to punch the man himself. On the other side, Captain finally gets a letter from his lawyer that the court has finally accepted his appeal. So he cries, and everyone in prison celebrates his happiness. The day of Je-Hyuk's release finally comes, and because he is a famous player, the director of the Ministry of Justice personally visits him. He films a speech saying that when the world abandons you, prison is the first place to welcome you, though those words are forced by the director. Later, he eats with the director while the other guards share funny stories about Director Na's childhood strictness. Before leaving, Je-Hyuk records a video thanking everyone who helped him, though he forgets to mention Junho, which makes him angry. When Je-Hyuk apologizes sincerely, Junho takes the chance to confess that he is dating Je-Ho. Hearing this, Je-Hyuk jokingly grabs a fire extinguisher and chases him. Later inside the prison, no one can sleep because only 6 hours are left until Je-Hyuk's release. In the morning, Je-Hyuk hugs Captain Yu and Dong-ho tightly and promises to stay in touch. As he walks out, the prisoners reach their hands through the bars while shouting farewell. Outside, reporters surround him and start taking photos. Je-Hyuk hugs Junho's family, then spots Je-Ho in the crowd. He walks up to her and openly declares his love in front of everyone. 2 years later, Baeo-ji drives a luxury car to pick up Je-Hyuk for a major baseball tournament in Seoul because he has become Je-Hyuk's secretary and close friend. Je-Hyuk stands once again on the field, surrounded by fans and smiles, while thinking that Je-Ho is waiting for him at home. Back in prison, Captain Yu reads the news of his final appeal and smiles with relief as he knows that the innocent are free and the guilty are punished.